Let's get to our next topic, guys. It's brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel is a proud sponsor of the NFL and the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And every day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost for even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. Just visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every single NFL playoff game day. All right, guys, ESPN did its offseason projections for all 32 NFL teams. And for the Browns, some were pretty obvious, but I thought their big prediction for Cleveland was worth talking about. ESPN's offseason projections for the Browns in the big prediction category said this: the Browns will bring in Brandon Aiyuk. Browns can offer him more money and opportunity than any other team in the NFL. So, G. Bush, the captain of Project Stockpile, would you be in favor of bringing in Brandon Aiyuk to help solve some of the Browns' wide receiver room issues?
What is his injuries the last 2 years? He just disappeared after he tore his ACL. Then, do we know?
He did not play this year.
Okay.
It's worth noting he missed the entire 2025 season as he was still recovering from, I believe, the ACL surgery, but I will double check for you in 1 sec.
Okay. And he is a free agent?
He's a free agent, correct. And yes, he suffered he had early hamstring ankle issues, and then he tore all the ligaments in his knee. ACL, MCL, and meniscus in 24, and then he missed all of 25.
Mike, in that thing it said the Browns could pay him more than other people. I don't understand that. The Browns are not like near the top in cap space.
No, they're not near the top.
Yeah.
I think they're saying that most people that have money that is contenders
money and opportunity
will not. Nobody's going to touch.
I want nothing to do with that.
I don't think he's a free agent. Are you sure?
Well, they said John Lynch said he's played his last game in San Francisco.
Okay, fine. Doesn't mean he's a free agent.
I
don't think he's a free agent.
To my understanding, there's a high probability of him getting cut.
Okay.
So you
he's not a free agent.
Okay.
Right now.
If they could trade him, they're going to trade him. They get anything for him.
They're not getting anything for him. I mean, they're going to have to cut him. The guy hasn't played in a year and a half.
Yeah, I know, but you would trade a seventh for him?
He has no guaranteed.
I don't want him on the team.
I don't necessarily want him either, although he's not as old as I thought he was.
How old is
he? We got to stop taking everybody's malcontents.
I totally agree.
I mean, it's enough already.
I totally agree.
The guy's had one great season.
Here, you want a Project Stockpile? Yeah, listen. When you were the Cleveland Browns, and I'm looking at this receiver class, and boy, I tell you, me and Tyvis was looking at these cats. Hey, listen, these mythical, this is not, I'm telling you, this is not a deep receiver class. You may got 3 in a possible, maybe. So you're not going to get one of them. I don't know what they plan on doing at 6, but it's turning out to be not a deep tackle draft, too. So if I'm looking at it, if it costs me Minimowski, heck yeah, I'm bringing him on a flyer. I need bodies and people. I cannot go back out here with Cedric Tillman and Malachi Corley running reverses. Yeah, it's not much of a risk. He don't have no guaranteed money on the books. He'll come in and be on talent. He has a better resume than anybody else you got besides Jerry Jeudy. Yeah. But you still have to add something to this wide receiver room, and you got to do it in a smart way that don't hamstring you from going to get other positions. I need bodies. Sure. Let's get him. Let's talk to him.
I think the Browns consistently adding malcontents when they have no leadership is a bad idea.
It's part of the problem with the culture here.
Yeah.
100%.
So where are you going to get the talent from?
Well, you find it other places. I don't know how. Can he still play? I don't know.
Well, obviously.
He hasn't done anything for 2 years.
Obviously, he has to pass a physical. You got to bring him in a medical. You can bring him in and work him out.
I don't know that a 28-year-old wide receiver who has barely played for 2 years, had a problem with the Niners. Like, that's one of the marquee organizations in the league. Couldn't get along with Kyle Shanahan. Couldn't get along with John Lynch. Like, the guy's a problem. We can't bring in everybody's problem. It doesn't work.
Well,
it hasn't worked.
This is not the place that cures problems.
No.
Here's what I will say. We can have Boy Scouts with no problems and still suck.
Well, but we've tried the let's have malcontents, and that hasn't worked.
What have they gotten for it?
Yeah.
I look at it like this, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the roster. And again, you got to think about it in terms of you bring in a new head coach, you let your new head coach look at him, and then you say, hey, what do you think about him?
Go get Marvin Harrison. Go get a young guy who's not a pain in the ass.
And if Marvin Harrison was available, I would take him too.
Well, you trade for him.
But
if the Cardinals, I don't know if the Cardinals
I don't think the Cardinals are in the business of just giving away a top 3 pick.
And by the way, if you're Aiyuk, maybe he doesn't care about winning. Maybe he just wants the most money. I don't know, but
it's about opportunity. If he says that he's not playing in San Francisco, here's the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it like this. Andrew Berry has to win football games. You got to win football games. It's up to your coach and the people that's there in order to put him in the best positions to make plays and to get it done. Oof. I don't know if he can play. If it's a low risk, it's a low risk. Guess what? If he doesn't work out, you can cut him, move on from him. But the thing I cannot do and will not do is I will not sit on my hands going into this offseason and picking the resumes of people say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, you got to do something. Because Malachi Corley cannot be your number 1 target going into 2026.
So you want a bunch of young guys around Brandon Aiyuk and Jerry Jeudy. You think that's good for the health of this team?
Hey, I think it's good for the talent of the team. We'll figure out if we'll figure it out.
When you take guys like this who are not even that good, like what's the point?
Is he better than what they have?
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, but
there's other guys who are better than what they have.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are better than what they have.
I would like those guys too. You give me a new name. I'm not Brandon Aiyuk is the first person y'all asked me about.
They are going to upgrade that.
If there was a person that is better, I'm not.
And by the way, G, a number of times you said he's got to win now. Well, listen. If he's making decisions based on I got to win now, that's bad for the organization.
Why? Winning now is good.
If you make decisions that are bad for the long term because you think in theory, like the Browns are not going to be good next year. We know this.
But there are decisions you make that are long-term decisions.
Yeah.
Then there's short-term decisions. Everything is not a monolith. Some decisions you make in the short term because this contract is not guaranteed. If it doesn't work out, you can move on from them, and it does not hamper you long term. Now, a long-term decision would be, let's trade for Marvin Harrison Jr., and we got to trade a high draft pick, number 1 or 2. That's a long-term decision.
Right.
Some of these I could get better in the long term. Some I'll look at is long-term decisions or short-term decisions. I'm just trying to improve this roster right here.
If they needed one more piece and they were a contending team and they were close, all right, bring them in and take a look.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in that position.
Does he make them any better? Would they have won more games with him last year? I doubt it.
If I got, here's what I'm going to do. If I got young quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
I told you my idea is this. If I got young quarterbacks, I need to infuse that room. I need to infuse the room with an upgrade in talent so that I can get a legitimate look to see if these guys is it. I have to do it.
You already had Jerry Jeudy complaining on the sideline.
Hey, we're going to have to work with Jerry.
As a malcontent.
It is what it is.
He's a malcontent.
Guess what?
Yeah.
We got a new coach. I guarantee with a new coach, Jerry have a better attitude. You know why? Because the new coach is the new law in town. Not for long, Jerry. You ain't got that much guaranteed money on that deal. Watch Jerry's attitude be completely different with a new coach this year. That's the way it works.
I hope so. He did a lot of complaining for somebody that sucked on the field.
He did. Jerry didn't have a good year, but the goal is that I need a reset. I need to bring some guys in the mix and see what they can do and can't do. But I can't have Harold Fannin Jr. being the only guy on the field.
I'd rather them bring in a bunch of young guys than bring in this guy. To me, it's a bad. To me, I'd only consider Brandon Aiyuk if I'm a established team with an established quarterback. That's like if I'm the Bills, I'd consider Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah,
that might work. But if I'm the Browns, we've talked so many years, you got to build a culture. You can't have. All these you can't have all these guys being bad guys.
And guess what? If it doesn't work, what's the worst that happens?
He poisons the young players' attitude.
You got 10, 12. You're playing all young dudes anyway, right? You're playing all young dudes. At the end of the day, you have to – where you are at the point where the Browns are, where they don't have much cap flexibility, They don't have much talent. And the places that they need to get better at, they need to allocate those draft picks to those places. When you're at a place where you're the Cleveland Browns, you can't cry because you're in a position. Everybody that you pick is going to have an issue. Like, no, the guys that are available for the Cleveland Browns to pick to bring on their roster.
Oh, you mean in free agency?
In free agency are going to have some issues. Like, because if they didn't, first of all, they wouldn't be a free agent. If they didn't, they still were free agents.
You mean off the field free?
I'm talking about they're gonna have. I'm talking about
issues as like with their skill set.
Issues with the issues off the field or skill set.
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of the other.
I mean, there's plenty of free agents that don't have issues off the field. But yeah, okay.
But if those guys don't, they have other places that they can go to better teams, right?
Sure. Although the Browns, in theory, will pay more, and sometimes players will just take the money.
I guess I'll do homework over the weekend and come up with a list of names. I don't know names.
There you go, Jay. Give me 10.
But what I'm saying is there's other options besides Brandon Aiyuk, and they've got plenty of fifth-round picks that you can go out and you can go and get. I mean, the Amari Cooper type deal was a hit, obviously.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of misses, too, trying to go that route. But there are other ways to do it where I would rather look at some other guys than Aiyuk.
And plus, here's the thing. I'm not, let me get this clear. I'm not super duper over the top sold on Brandon Aiyuk. First of all, he tore every ligament in his knee. Plus, he already has some injuries in history prior to that. He hasn't played in a year. He wasn't what we would call a super burner to start with. So there's injury histories. There's a lot of other things that come along with it. If you ask me in a vacuum when I don't have no other names, sure, I'll take a flyer.
I got some names for you real quick.
Y'all give me them names then.
Ironically, Bill Barnwell of ESPN wrote an article yesterday that is titled 2026 NFL offseason wide receiver market, free agents, trade candidates, cut candidates.
Oh, okay. I like this.
So this happened to pop up. We'll do a deeper dive into this because I got to get to something else in a sec. But the cut candidates alongside of Brandon Aiyuk were Tyreek Hill and Calvin Ridley. Trade candidates were A.J. Brown, Keon Coleman, Quentin Johnson, Xavier Legette, DJ Moore, and Brian Thomas Jr.
So there's guys in that group that I like, that are younger and have upside and don't have any like nonsense connected with them.
There's man.
You know what? I trade for Keon Coleman because that dude's going to be motivated and he's got to get out of Buffalo.
And we talked about what's his name from the Jaguars,
Brian Thomas Jr.
We talked about him too. He was great as a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's a guy, and Keon Coleman too. Like
that dude's going to be motivated.
I always like.
Go get guys like that.
I always liked Xavier Legette. I liked him. He ain't done too much. Keon Coleman. Look. I wouldn't mind having him.
It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
No.
And Brian Thomas Jr. I'm
my top choice.
And I'm definitely heck yeah on that.
I would much rather have him than Brandon Aiyuk.
So there's 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Listen.
By the way, if we get Xavier Legette, do we have to sign? I think we have to sign Adam Thielen because I think Adam Thielen's his translator. Because he has that. He's like from like the Bayou, isn't he?
Deep country.
Yeah.
Deep country.
And for some reason, I believe it was Adam Thielen who could understand everything he was saying.
I saw like those guys. DJ Moore, is he playing?
He's a little older, but yeah, I'd certainly be interested in DJ Moore.
Listen, they could use some veteran leadership. I'm not against.
Yeah, I would take any guy that you just mentioned, Mike, on that second list. That over Aiyuk for me.
Yeah, that 31 dude. Yeah, give me. I could use that
if the price is right. They could use some veterans.
Next week we'll go through all the trade candidates on that list, and we'll try and figure out what we think their value would be via draft compensation. Like Brian Thomas Jr., you still probably have to give up a first-round pick for, but
I'll give them their pick right back.
I would give the Jags their pick back for Brian Thomas Jr.
right back. I'm going to tell you this.
He's better than anybody in this draft.
Oh, he's better. Listen, if he straight up, I talked to Tyvis, if he straight up came out, I think Brian Thomas Jr. might be better than Carnell Tate.
Yeah. Mm. I mean, you could take it. You could trade that 24th pick for Brian Thomas Jr. and then trade some late pick for Keon Coleman or DJ Moore, and your whole wide receiver room is transformed.
You need 2 new receivers that make Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
If Jerry Jeudy's your third guy,
slot guy,
he could be your second.
He could be your second, but wouldn't you love it if he were your third?
Bull, hold on.
Yeah.
You said this yesterday, and
what I do?
he's not a slot guy.
That's when he performed his best
No,
last year.
it's when he played the most, but all his numbers came from the outside. The numbers in the slot do not match the eye test.
All right.
Just throwing it out.
In my mind,
bad.
in my mind,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what it is. The Kool-Aid is talking for me. Wherever new head coach they get, especially if they offensive coordinators, I'm already telling myself that they McVay-ish. I'm already telling myself. So that means that Jerry Jeudy is supposed to be open now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
All
of a sudden.
He's going to be open.
All of a sudden, Jeudy is open and
he's
catching
gonna
the
hold the
rock.
ball.
And
He's going to catch it.
And he's catching it. See, and it's run after catchability.
Are
This is
any
the
of
way
those
the Kool-Aid
guys slot
works.
receivers then? I'm trying to think.
In the trade candidate pool, Brian Thomas, no.
No.
DJ Moore, no. Leggett, no. Quentin Johnson, no. Coleman, no.
X's.
AJ Brown, no. Romeo Dobbs is a top free agent receiver, and Wandale Robinson, they're both slot guys.
I would take either of those guys.
I like Dobbs.
I like Dobbs, and I like
both of
Wandale.
them.
He had a nice season for the Giants.
I like
Wandale was very good for the
I
Giants.
like
Okay,
both
so
of them.
say you traded the 24th pick for Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know if Jacksonville would do that.
Why are they trading him?
Well, because they just signed.
Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington emerged. They have
Okay.
Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying they would.
I'm keeping
I
all
don't
of
know
them.
why they
Maybe
would-
if they
I
had a
don't know why
chance,
they would trade
maybe
him.
because they have so much depth at wide receiver. If they would trade their first, they get their first round pick back. You're probably right. I wouldn't do it if I were them.
I
But
don't-
if in theory, I would make that trade if I were the
Yeah,
Browns.
I don't think
I would.
If you could get one of those trade receivers and then sign Wandale Robinson and Romeo Dobbs, okay.
Your
Wide
receiver
receiving room is much better.
Looks pretty solid.
Significantly better.
And then Isaiah Bond can just run straight, and you throw
As
it to
your
him.
fourth receiver.
Hey, he's if Corley want to still run end arounds,
Get rid of Cedric Tillman. Get rid of Jamari Thrash.
I don't even know those guys can play. I don't. But by the way, there's always one guy when you get a new coach that comes out of nowhere that's good. All of a sudden, you're like, hold on.
Yeah, what is this guy?
Like, what is it?
Yeah.
There's new coaches. This happens. Two guys regress, and one guy gets good out of nowhere, and you're like, yeah, I don't know how this works. Like, which one of y'all gonna be? But yeah, like I like all those dudes.